Branch lines were always in the central part of any good railroad. As their name suggests, these lines branch off from the main line to connect more remote towns. In fact, we own such a line, the Quinburg branch. Starting out from Flint Ridge, it goes to the small town of Quinburg and then 6 miles onwards to Parker in the Western Hills. The route was built in 1892 as an extension for the Auburn and Hemings Railroad, the guys who owned the trackage before we took over. Mort, the switcher that we got a few months back, was set to primarily work on the branch for a time. However, orientation had to come first. Mr. Mark arranged for Danny to give him a tour of the line, so there he sat with Danny at Flint Ridge one day, waiting for their path to clear so they could start their journey.
Well, we get to leave. Randall can't be talking that long.
I know, but be patient, he'll be here eventually.
Sorry I'm late, fellas. The car's like taking brakes. I hope I didn't cause any trouble.
Oh, it's no problem, we were just leaving actually. Come on, Mort, let's go. Okay, first we got this little abandoned siding. It was left to the elements during the Great Depression.
It's just a siding. Why would they need to abandon it?
Railroads were trying to cut back in every way they could. I mean in any way. Next we got the village of Elwood. Only 12 people live here, so it's not all that important. If you're into nature, then you'll love this branch.
But Danny, more than 60% of this entire railroad is covered in forest.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, here's some nice green pastures. It's a pretty straight stretch of line here, so we can really open up the throttle here. This stretch will take you by the Higgins Stockyard, which is right over there. Just a bit of a cutting going on through here. And at last, we're at Quinburg.
So, did you like the branch line?
Oh yes, I did. I'll never get tired of working here.
That's good, because you'll be seeing lots of it today. Yes, he did. In fact, we need to go there to complete a job, so let's go. At the end of the Quinburg branch was the Piedmont gravel mine, which has always been a loyal customer of ours. Either Danny, Todd, or I would take the gravel away from the mine to deliver it to New Windsor for export. We even used the gravel in some of our construction projects, like when we extended to the McCedar coal mine in the 1920s. Jim, of the Auburn and Hemings Railroad, ran the mine himself. I'd like to go on a bit of a tangent for a moment to discuss the A&H's 3 engines, Jim, Joe, and John. The trio were privately bought after their company shut down in 1914 due to what I bet is the worst embezzlement North Carolina has ever seen. Jim would be sent off to work at the gravel mine as their private engine, while John went off to work as Bakersfield's designated switcher, and Joe was devoted to a park display in downtown Bryson. Poor Joe. Well, anyways, Danny and Mort's trip down the branch was not just for a quick look around, but they were also there to fill a large shipment of gravel, as the mine's operator told Mr. Mark. Good afternoon, Jim. Hello, Dan. Who's your little friend here? This is Mort. He'll be helping me clear all the gravel today.
Greetings, Jim.
Nice to meet you, Mort. I'm Jim. I'm the engine who works here, but sometimes I might take trains as far as Auburn. We should be getting to work in a minute. But the way Bill said, in a minute! Okay, geez, take it easy. And so the three went about their work. Mort and Danny would arrange and fill the hoppers and gondolas, while Jim would take the filled cars down to Flint Ridge. From there, Leviathan would take the trains down to New Windsor Harbor. It was strenuous work, but together they chipped away at the long lines of hoppers until there was only one line left.
After today, I'll be able to sleep until winter.
You shouldn't be that tired. We were only doing switching.
Quick question. Couldn't we have saved some time and effort if Leviathan just came up here himself?
He couldn't. The tracks west of Quinburg weren't built to handle engines as big as him.
But Randall came up here a few times, I recall.
It's the absolute biggest engine that can come down this line. The main concern is that anyone bigger than him will break the wooden bridge.
You mean the one before the tunnel?
Yep. Well, I gotta get this last load down to Flint Ridge. Now, see you... Ah, crap!
What's wrong?
A downside to working here is minimal maintenance, so there goes my left-hand cylinder.
Then who'll take these hoppers?
You'll have to take them.
Well, if there's really no other option, I guess I will have to take the helm.
Wait, Danny, I can take it.
I don't mean to be rude, but with the size of your tanks, I don't think you'll be able to get far without a top-up. I'll see you back at Lagrange, Mort, and see you later, Jim.
You too, Danny.
I'm sorry to say, but Danny's next run will be anything but normal. The line going down the mine is pretty rural territory. It makes its way up into the hills and crosses over the road multiple times. Everyone going up or down this part of branch line has to be careful of people, cars, and cattle, since this line was mostly unfenced. As Danny would find out, this was more serious than we were told. Afternoon, officer.
Stop right there.
I'm sorry, is something wrong?
Yes, there is. First of all, where is your cow catcher?
I don't have that. I only have these little steps at the front. I'm only a switcher.
Don't give me any lip boy.
I'm sorry, officer. What seems to be the big deal?
The problem is that any train running along an unfenced stretch of track should be fitted with a pilot or a cow catcher to prevent injury to potential animals that might stray onto the tracks. And you don't have any of those.
Since when?
Since trains had cow catchers. Have you been traveling along here since then?
Yes, but we didn't know anything about it.
Not knowing is no excuse. I'll be issuing a ticket and notifying your boss. Good day.
I bet Danny felt very embarrassed as he chuffed away from the crossing. He must have also been dreading what would have happened when word got back to Mr. Mark. I was also worried about how our manager would react when I came into the LaGrange station nearly 15 minutes late. And I could already tell that Randall, who was waiting to depart with a coal shipment to New Windsor, was just waiting to rip into me. Okay, Randall, I know you got something to say, so let's get it over with.
I don't know who you take me for, Eddie. I don't know Danny, and I don't revel in the anguish of a fellow colleague.
Oh, sure.
I'm just confused. Why would an engine like yourself be late?
At least I got a valid one. Remember the last time you were late? What was the reason again? Oh yeah, you weren't paying attention and fell into the turntable.
No, I just simply wasn't aware of my surroundings.
If you can't handle insults, don't hand them out. That's some good advice, Eddie, but this behavior is unfitting for two engines standing in a busy yard. You're professionals, remember?
Yes, sir.
Now, Eddie, why were you so late with the 350 service? The switches going out of Carlton were jammed, sir. Understandable. Have a nice day. And just like that, the matter was over. Though Mr. Mark was a strict man, he was still understanding. I wonder if he would have said more if the yardmaster had not rushed up to him. Mr. Mark! Mr. Mark! Calm down, man. Now tell me, why are you in such a hurry? I just got a call from the police at Flint Ridge. They need to speak to you about Danny. Let me guess, did he try to turn one of the gondolas inside out again? I don't know, but I reckon you should head down there as soon as you can. Oh dear. Eddie, do you think you could give me a lift to Flint Ridge? Sure, just let me get turned around. After I got to have a spin on the turntable, Mr. Mark climbed aboard as we set off. As I went along the line, I couldn't help but wonder who the officer was that handed out the fine. I did hear of one of those no-nonsense type officers who had just joined the force and wondered if it was the same guy. Danny, are you good? I'm okay. What did you do? Broke some law about unfenced trackage. Did you not know about it either? No, I didn't. And neither did I. Oh, Mr. Mark, I'm so sorry about what happened today. I didn't know. It's alright, Danny. I'll take care of this one. Mr. Mark went to go talk to the officer who was surprisingly enough with the chief of the police for that county. The chief spoke for only 30 minutes, but to me and Danny it felt like an eternity. Finally, the chief closed his statement by voiding the ticket, stating that it was a first offense, and he left the yard soon after. See? No trouble at all. Thank you, sir. And I'm sorry for causing all of this. Don't be sorry, Dan. It's my fault that I haven't been responsible when it comes to making sure that all of my locomotives and employees are up to date with the latest laws in place. And I intend to fix that. And fix it he did. First he built some fences on either side of the track along the section that passes through the more rural parts leading up to the mine. Next he arranged several legal lectures, making their attendance required for every single one of us. These were very boring, since the person giving the seminars had all the charisma and charm of an unseasoned chicken wing. While they were absolutely agonizing to sit through, I would be a fool to say they were pointless, as we learned quite a bit from these lectures. First, it was the basics like handling freight cars filled with hazardous materials. There were also the more obscure rules like a fixed signal having to be used at each train order office to indicate stop. Although no harm came of Danny's mishap, you can be sure that the Southerners gave him no end of grief.
Well, isn't it just a nice day to be a law-abiding citizen of this law? Ain't it, Danny?
Go eat a brake pipe, Lonnie!
Well, ain't I just a little stinker then, eh? Well, get this. And then I reminded him how good it is to be a law-abiding citizen of the law.
A good telling off is just what they needed.
Yeah, nicely put on. It's about time they're put in their place.
Someone had to. I mean, it's times like these where I enjoy being on the right side.
Greetings, everyone.
Hello, Mr. Earl. Who's this?
This here is Mr. Cass from the head office, and he will be orienting us on the legal sides of our operations here in this division.
If this is about them damn Northerners, why are we the ones made to suffer? We didn't do nothing wrong.
We are made to suffer, Lonnie. Look at what you did with that boxcar last spring. In case you forgot already.
No, I did not.
Now give Mr. Cass your full attention.
Thank you, Mr. Earl. Now, the first thing I would like to
This
go
seems
over
interesting.
Do you know what a halfwit is?
No, what is it?
Well, that answers my question.
Okie dokie.
8 miles southwest of Whittier lies the humble town of Hemings. It was always a popular tourist destination because of its hiking trails in the Hemings Lake. It's also where the LW and JRs link up with the Hemings and Western Railroad stands. At the time of this story, 5 engines worked the lines. There was Russell, Amber, Palmer, Rick, and Dean. A point worth mentioning is that when the Southern Railway took over the division in 1923, it only applied to the standard gauge, not any of the NG stuff, so the H&W were left to their own devices. The railroad navigated through the rugged hills to the west and the quaint farmlands. Every year at harvest time, the farmers needed the H&W to transport their produce to the transfer yard at Hemings for delivery to places further afield, and every year Mr. Mark and Mr. Earl would have a bidding war over who would take the produce delivery. This year, it was our fleet that got the contract. I was due to take the first load that Russell had brought into town.
So, what's been going on with the standard gauge lately?
Plenty. I'm sure you heard of Danny's running with the law already.
Oh, yeah, that. I don't understand why I got flagged. I mean, they've been running that line for years and there wasn't a single problem.
Well, besides that, one day Bernie broke down with the express. I even got to go beyond the railroad because, as it turned out, the engine that was supposed to take it onwards had broken down.
How was it? I heard from the other Pensy folks that it was a very scenic route.
Oh, it was a sight, let me tell you. Going over that bridge going into Bakersfield was pretty nice. Okay, Eddie, we got this load all sorted out. Now we just need, Dean to come in with this train. Well, I can't afford to just stand around here. I need to head out now.
Ah, well, he must be late again. He was actually meant to be here with some boxcars of produce 5 minutes ago.
I did not realize, just as I pulled out of the yard, Dean was skidding into the ready track. He whistled, but I never heard it, and by the time he arrived, I was already too far away to hear.
Late again? What's the excuse this time?
There's no excuse, I just fooled around.
Oh, that's great! I'll be having a word with your manager and see if he can get a hold of dispatch.
My run to Whittier Harbor would be both uneventful and stormy. All day that day, storm clouds have been lingering above, and as I crossed onto the main line, the rain began to pour down. When I arrived at the docks, I was drenched in rainwater and was surprised to see Mr. Mark out here despite the deplorable weather conditions. Good afternoon, Mr. Mark. Eddie, I just got a call from dispatch. Dean arrived with his train, but late. I need you to return to Hemings and go pick it up. Sorry, sir, but I need to do the run from McCedar Coal Mine, remember? Oh, right. Damn. What's wrong, sir? The ship isn't meant to leave port until tomorrow. Initially, yes, but the captain insisted on going out of the harbor before the storm got any worse. This has to be some kind of joke. You know these seamen. Only time they won't set sail is when the rapture happens. Haha, seamen. That's not funny, Eddie. There has to be someone. Well, Mort was meant to be in this area today. Wait, really? Yes, sir. I last saw him by the steel mill. Aw, Mort, just the engine I need. I need you to head down to Hemings ASAP, and make sure to top up on water and oil before you go. Do you think you can do it?
Oh, yes.
Then go, and make it quick. Every minute this fleet operates in this area, it costs us $50 an hour. Mort bravely forged on through the storm, fighting through the wind, rain, and even some flooded areas. Sadly, his efforts would be for nothing, as he didn't know that since I left Hemings, Carter had arrived there and sweet-talked Dean into letting him take the train onwards, as well as an outbound load of other miscellaneous commodities. I'm sure he would have delivered it to Bakersfield interchange yards, and if he did, that would have been stealing, as us Northsiders were specifically contracted to do the job, and I'm sure he would have gone away with it if he had passed the junction and kept his mouth shut.
Don't worry about the fruit Mort. I got it covered.
Don't worry about what. Hey, that's my train. Hand it over.
I'll add in a one for you over the telegram then.
That sleazeball thief.
What thief?
The engine that just passed through here. He's still a load I was meant to deliver in violation of Article 35 of the ICC's Handbook on Transport and the Intercoms.
Don't worry, we'll make sure he doesn't get far.
Why am I getting flagged down? Is the line flooded?
No, we got word that you, as a locomotive from the Southern Railway, is currently attempting to steal this concentrate here, which is property of the Pension.
Stolen? I was only helping him out.
Well, until we get this sorted out with the police, you're not to go anywhere. Carter had to return to Whittier, where he, Mort, and their crews had a small talk with the police. Unfortunately, no charges were filed against Carter, as it was just as believable to the investigators that Carter was only doing us a favor, like he was going to confess to anything else. In the end, Mort was able to take the train to Whittier Harbor, albeit with following the weather restrictions. When he arrived, the cargo was loaded aboard the ship and set sail as soon as possible, ignoring the obviously bad conditions. The Southerners suffered badly from Carter's failed attempted theft. In fact, they were at risk of losing all control they had on the division if they didn't play fair. And to be frank, they did. Even after Carter's temporary probation, the Southerners acted much better toward us Northsiders. Well, better than trying to actively sabotage our operations. This turnaround wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Mort's impressive grasp on the ICC's rules and regulations. All of us were proud of him, especially Mr. Mark, who was glad that at least one of us took something away from Mr. Cass's seminars. Now, for the officer who had stopped Danny. To be fair, we couldn't blame him for giving out the fine, but his behavior towards us engines left a lot to be desired. During his entire career, he was always lurking about the crossings, just waiting to hit us with some bullcrap law. We never gave him that opportunity, though, and about 4 months later, he had to resign from the force after getting into a scandal with the mayor of Carlton. Yeah. After he left, life became better on the Quincy Branch, which we continue to serve with enthusiasm to this very day.
See, he turned himself into a pickle, then he called himself Pickle Danny. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
After turning around on the turntable, I rushed down to Diddy's house in desperate hopes that the bay oil hadn't been confiscated yet.
Oh no, now here they come!